Hello, I'm Michaela and this is my review of A Game of Thrones and it was published by Harper Voyager, which is part of the larger HarperCollins publishers. This edition is 800 pages and is fantasy, and this book follows 8 characters and can be split into 3 different stories, which is the Stark family, which there's a lot of conspiracy, politics, and emphasis on Ed, I guess. The exiled Prince Daenerys, or Dany as she's often called in the book, who is the last, and Jon Snow, who trains, and I don't know if this is a spoiler, so he does train a bit for the Night's Watch, and I liked the idea of the book, and I think there is a lot of potential, but unfortunately I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I might, and I found it difficult to get into and quite boring and quite slow. If it was more interesting, the audiobook was fine, it's just the content of the book, I think, was the problem. The writing was difficult to get into at the start and was a little bit confusing, which didn't help, though you do get used to it and get used to the writing for the different characters, and you do find it a little bit easier. Though I didn't mind the dialogue, and I thought that was alright with most of the characters, but at the start with Eddard it was a little bit confusing, and some parts of the book it was just the dialogue was just some of the best parts of some of it, and some chapters are more complex than others, and it just depended on the character, and I just wish it was like a mix of like the writing, like of the dialogue, and like the descriptive sort of plot push that it needed, which would have made it a lot easier and a lot quicker to read for me, and it would have been far more entertaining, and it would have made it maybe a little bit less confusing, I think. And there is too many characters for when you start off with this book, and 8 might not sound like a lot, but when you first start and get into this book it's difficult and it's confusing with that many people, and it's just difficult, I think. It's difficult to remember who's who and to keep up with it. And I found that Jon, Bran and Arya were probably my favourite characters out of all of them, as well, if I just describe this, Arya was the relatable one who doesn't necessarily keep up with social norms, and you just love her. Jon is just a nice young man, even under the circumstances that he's in, and you can kind of understand him a little bit. And Bran is just an adorable young boy, and he's a very innocent character, even after some of the things that happen in the book. But on the other hand, at the very start of the book, I really didn't like Catelyn, and she was just a very cold character, especially with Jon. And if you've read the book, you'll know why she's like that with Jon. But it's just something she said when something happens to Bran. It's just she says something to Jon, and I think it's harsh, and I think she's very nasty. And later on in the book, I didn't like her, or slowly started to like her as such, but I just thought she was meh during the rest of the book. And all in all, I found this book to be so-so, and ended up with 2 stars on Goodreads, only because my favourite characters got like 1 star, so I didn't end up with the one. And I don't plan to read any of the rest of the books because this one was just crap. I have started the series. I've only watched the first episode of the first series, and I think I only find that episode boring because I know what happens in the series, so I don't really need it explained again. So hopefully the series gets better, but if not, then I won't carry on with the series either. So up to now, this will be on like an unfinished series pile of some sorts. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video.